Hello everyone. So I am Cherilyn Tampoy on behalf of my partner Priscilla Haganas, who wasn't be able to report because of some circumstances, and I will be reporting lesson 5, the process of reproduction. So the lesson objectives are first, define fertilization, conception, and pregnancy. Explain how pregnancy occurs and its prevention, and identify the complications of early pregnancy in the growing adolescents. So we have here a definition of terms. So first is ovulation. It is simply the release of an egg from the ovary. Second is fertilization. So it is when the sperm and egg meets and join together. However, the pregnancy naman is the baby grows inside the woman's body. Simple as that. So there are a lot of differences between the female and male body when they hit puberty. So in the female puberty, this usually begins about when their age is at 8 to 13 years old. And however, the reproduction maturation of a male is about 2 years behind from female. And when female hits its puberty, this include the changes of her or the development of her breast and the rounding of her hips or buttocks, and also the growth of hair in the pubic areas of the body, the underarm, and also in this stage, this also starts the menstruation of a female. So before the menstruation start, there is what we call an ovulation stage. So this ovulation is a part of menstrual cycle. And this process normally happens about 10 to 16 days and before the starts of a period. So the average cycle is 28 days long, so it can range from 21 to 40 days. So when the egg is released from the ovary, it travels through the fallopian tube and it waits for the sperm to fertilize. So when it is not fertilized, the egg itself will break down and mauna ni siya atong gitawag na menstruation mo na nang dugunta. So naa sabtay gitawag if dugon ta, so naa di chance nga maburos. So unsa may kuanan nganong maburos man ta, or how does this pregnancy happen? So pregnancy begins when there is a sexual intercourse between a female and the male. And if there is already sexual intercourse, when the sperm releases into the vagina, it travels through the cervix and uterus to the fallopian tube where the egg cell located, and they also meet there to fertilize it. So after fertilization, the new embryo moves to the uterus and attaches to the inner lining. So ang katong nabuo na nga embryo, kay di ba nag-isa na si egg ug sa sperm, muna agto siya gikan sa fallopian tube padulong sa uterus nimo ug moadto na siya sa katong gitawag nato nga inner lining. So this attachment known as implantation. So it officially starts. It is the official start of the pregnancy. So it takes about 2 to 3 weeks from the time of the intercourse for this to happen. So mutugay gyud siya 2 to 3 weeks no para mabuo gyud ni si ang bag-o nga embryo. And pregnancy is considered full term as 37 to 42 weeks. And developing embryo is called fetus after the 8th week. So after the 8th week, katong si embryo nga murag ana ra siya lingin, So mahimo na to siyang fetus after sa ika-8 nga simana.
Swim through the layers of cervical mucus that guard the entrance to the uterus. During ovulation, this barrier becomes thinner and changes its acidity, creating a friendlier environment for the sperm. On the other side, after releasing the egg, at about day 14 of the period, the egg arrives at a specific portion of the tube called the angular isthmic junction. It rests for another 30 hours. Fertilization occurs in this portion of the tube. Once the sperm has entered the uterus, contractions propel the sperm upward into the fallopian tubes. To meet the waiting egg, sperm must travel from the vagina to the fallopian tubes, a tough journey that few sperm survive. This process may be nature's way of allowing only the healthiest sperm to fertilize the egg to provide the best chances of having a healthy baby. The first sperm enter the tubes a few minutes after ejaculation. But, however, the first sperm are not likely to fertilize the egg. Motile sperm can survive in the female reproductive tract for up to 5 days. The magic happens in the fallopian tubes. The fallopian tube pushes the egg towards the uterus. Cilia push the sperm towards the egg. Also, the surrounding cells of the egg produce a chemical that attracts sperm. The sperm first burrow through the cells of the corona radiata. Then, upon contact with the zona pellucida, the sperm bind to the receptors in the zona pellucida. Then, the enzyme-filled cap of the sperm, called the acrosome, releases its stored digestive enzymes. Finally, the sperm must fuse with the egg plasma membrane. This event causes the egg membrane to change and prevent other sperm from attaching to it. Now attached, the sperm's nucleus, where the chromosomes are stored, enters the egg cell, looking for the egg's nucleus. Egg combines genetic material with the sperm to create a full set of chromosomal DNA, with 23 pairs of chromosomes that contain a unique copy of half the genes of the parent source. This is the blueprint for a whole new, unique person that instantly determines gender, hair color, eye color, and many other characteristics. The combined sperm and egg is called a zygote. It is the earliest developmental stage. It divides rapidly in the days following fertilization. The zygote then travels down the fallopian tube to the uterus. After fertilization, the zygote continues to divide and morph into a blastocyst ball of 16 cells, approximately 5 to 6 days after fertilization. It is smaller than the tip of a ballpoint pen. Only 20% to 30% of fertilized eggs will reach the blastocyst stage. Embryos that survive this stage of development have a high implantation potential once transferred into the uterine cavity. The blastocyst hatches out of its shell and burrow into the uterine wall, endometrium, which serves as the source of oxygen and nutrients. About 4 weeks from the beginning of the last period, near the next period, the blastocyst has begun to produce the pregnancy hormone to tell your ovaries to stop releasing eggs. From then on, the menstrual cycle pauses. The blastocyst is called an embryo now. Home pregnancy test might be able to get a positive result. At week 5, the circulatory system, brain, and spinal cord are beginning to form, and the tiny heart will start to beat. The baby's heart beats about 54 million times before birth. The placenta provides oxygen and nutrients to the growing baby and removes waste products from the baby's blood via the umbilical cord. The nose, mouth, and ears are starting to shape at week 6. At weeks 7 and 8, the embryo has doubled in size since last week's. Little hands and feet start to grow. At week 9 to 12 of pregnancy, the embryo is called a fetus. The baby is almost fully formed and has completed the most critical portions. The facial features are more recognizable. The fetus's head is rotated and bent towards the chest, and he can occasionally touch his face. The diaphragm muscles start to grow. The reproductive, circulatory, and urinary systems are all at an advanced stage of development. The fetus will urinate in the amniotic sac. It is a sign of the proper functioning of the fetus's body. If the baby is a girl, her ovaries contain millions of eggs. If the fetus is a boy, his testicles will already start producing testosterone, male sex hormone, which is necessary for the development of his reproductive system. She or he is about 5 centimeters in size and 14 grams in weight. She or he is growing and maturing until ready to birth.
maburos naman gid ta. And as we all know, teenage pregnancy is already captivating everyone's attention kay kuan kay ni siya kaning sensitive kay ni siya nga kuan karon. Labi na kaning mostly manggod sa mga mahitabo ni siya sa mga kuan, mga high school students nga kanabitang during our puberty stage na nagyudara ang mga kuan, mga sa tawag ani kaning mga so na gitawag nga curiosity. So ma-curious na gyud ta, kabalo naman ta nga maburos dugon ta inana, so ma-curious na gyud ta. So most of the kuan during puberty age magkuan na gyud na siya no, kanang active sab ato ang sexual kuan ana ni nato sa atong lawas during that stage. So since uso gud kaayo, di man sing uso, most kuan kaning daghan jud kay kaila nga naka-engage aning teenage pregnancy. So saan man nato pag-prevent ni siya? How can we prevent teenage pregnancy? So there are a lot of contraception or contraceptive methods para ma-prevent nato ang pregnancy. Kay ngano man di ay before that, ngano man di ay ngano kailangan nato i-prevent? Of course, kay daghan kaayog pwede maapektuhan. Dili lang kita mismo, pati sab ang mga nakapalibot sa atoa. So kung makuanta ni maburustag sayo, so of course dili ta, most of us dili ka proceed mo eskwela na for higher education, and so di man ta tiniskwelahan, so dili ta makapangita og sakto nga work para ma-provide ang mga needs sa atong mga anak or sa atong kaugalingon or sa atong tibuok pamilya. So that's why, so dapat jud we should plan para ma-prevent nato ang teenage pregnancy. So there are a lot of or types of contraceptive method. So first, we do have a birth control pills. So birth control pills mo ni siya ang gina-intake. So we are all familiar with this naman no. So birth control gina-intake ni siya, it's a pill na contain ni siya og synthetic estrogen. So kaning synthetic estrogen is a man-made hormones, or it replaces the natural hormones of a woman. So how does it works? It alters the natural ovulation cycle. So iyahang kuanon kaning murag iyang baguhoon ang natural nga ovulation sa ato ang lawas. And this is theoretically 99 to 100% proven of effectiveness, but women have conceived on the pill. Kay some of it gihapon kay makalimtan manggod, so dili gud siya totally nga 100%. Yes, if dili ka makalimot nga mo take 100% gyud na mo effective gyud ni siya. But if makalimot ka, mabuo gyud na siya pag mag sexual intercourse gyud mo. And the benefits of it is barato siya, dali siya mapalit or dali siya makit-an bisag asa, and also it is controlled by us women. And we do also have a birth control injection. So sa birth control injection, muna ni siya ang kanang i-inject sa atua para kung naay pill na apoy i-inject. Pero ang kakuanan ani nila is injection kay ihatag ni siya in the first day of menstruation and every 2 to 3 months. So although makuan niya, ma-prevent niya within 2 to 3 months, mubalik na sab ka hassle siya. Unlike sa birth control pill. And it is also, you should not be the one who dili ikaw ang mag-perform ani sa imong lawas, kundi ang doktor mismo. Kay bawal ni siya. It is not allowed nga kita mismo ang mag-inject ani sa atong kaugalingon. Kay di sa tatagaan ani sa pharmacy without the kuan sa doktor. Next is we do have a withdrawal. So withdrawal, unsa man ning withdrawal? It is the removal of the penis from the vagina before ejaculation. So before ang unsa man natong gitawag nga ejaculation, katong time na nga mo gawas na ang white thing sa lala, kala, sa lalaki. And before that siya mo gawas, ibton si junior didto kang vagina para ang katong white thing dili mo sulod dito sa vagina, which is ang katong white thing nag-contain to siya og sperm. So it prevents the semen from going to the vagina. And it is 85%, but in reality 70% lang siya kay some of the kanang bitang mag-sexual intercourse na kanang madala na sa mga gipang bati, so kuan yun na siya, di yun na siya maiwasan nga makalimtan inana, makaligtaan ganon. And ang kuan lang pud aniya, ang benefit lang pud aniya is wala kay gasto, wala kay igawas nga kwarta ani. And then it is control a man and a woman. But still, it depends on the man kay siya, sa iya man mo gawas ang sperm. So, siya mas makabalo when niya ibton si junior. Next is the intrauterine device. So, or it is called IUD. So, si IUD, it is inserted in the uterus by a doctor. So si IUD na siya duha ka klase, katong hormonal high IUD o katong copper IUD. Si katong isa ka IUD is mag-release sa to siya hormones nga iyang i-block, and then i-block dito sa uterus. Mura na siya letter T nga block sa uterus para ang sperm dili kasulod dito or dili ka adto sa fallopian tube where the egg cell kung asa ang egg cell. And it is theoretically 95 to 98% nga effective. And also kuan ni siya, magdugay gyud ni siya, and dili siya mahal. Kay kaisa ra man ka magbayad ani. Once it is put there, kaisa ra gyud ka magbayad ani niya. And then it is inserted by the doctor in the first few days of menstruation. And kailangan ni siya ginapa-check nimo every few months kay basin daay during sexual intercourse is natandog na siya, so na chance nga makasulod si sperm. So dapat ginapa-check gihapon nato ni siya. Next is we do have a male condom. So familiar man tanong unsa ning condom, katong rubber sheath nga ibutang sa penis. And theoretically it is 80 to 85% effective. And barato ra sab ni siya, mapalit bisan asa, makita ni nato bisan asa, and it reduces the risk of STDs and STIs kay i-block man niya. So katong mga hugaw, katong na mga na STD na ay mga STIs nga kuan, iyahamang matabunan gud, so maprotektahan niya ang vagina if in certain siya or ang penis mismo maprotektahan siya sa naay STDs nga ikaiyang ka sexual intercourse. And also, pag magamit tag kondom, dili dapat magamit sab og lubricant nga naman kay si lubricant or ang mga creams or other lotions nga pampadandog kay kuan man gud ni siya kaning syempre danlog na si penis. So if ibutang nimo dito si kondom, naay chance nga matanggal ra gihapon to siya kay danlog man. And next is we do have a implantable hormone device or continuous release of hormones. So si IHD, same ra ni sila ni IUD. But si IUD is the letter T shape inserted in the uterus. However, si implantable hormone device is ginabutang ni siya diri sa arm sa babae. So that nga namang diri ibutang kay mas dali siya i-access sa doktor, mas dali siya ikuan kanang tas naa sad tay ugat diri nga directly nga mag-release sa mas dali siya kanang ugat siya nga kanang gausana agianan sa atong hormones nga mas dali siya agihan. And then as this continuous release hormone, so iyang i-abnormalize ang imuhang kanang hormones. So kanang kuanan gyapon niya kaning ilisan niya gyud ang imuhang natural hormone, sagula niya og mga kanang kuanan na chemicals nga hormone para walay ovulation nga mahitabo or if naaman gani abnormal siya, so wala gihapon kay chance nga maburos. Next is the calendar method. So usually ginabuhat ni siya sa female. So how can we do calendar method? So the woman predicts the day of the ovulation by keeping a calendar of the length or each menstrual cycle. So i-predict ni babae kanusa ang iyang ovulation day para makita niya kung kanusa atong mga safe para or matrack niya kung kanus atong safe days para sa sex. So theoretically it is 85% effective, but in reality it is 60% kay usahay manggod maapektuhan manggod di ba pag ma-imbalance atong hormones if stress ta, so usahay kay ma-delay ang kuan or ma-early ang ato ang menstruation nga wa jud ta kabalo. So dako jud kay chance gihapon nga maburos ta. Although dili ni siya mahal o control ni siya sa woman, dapat kung maggamit kag calendar method dapat tutok jud kay kaani kay dako jud kay chance maburos if makaligtaan jud nimo siya. So next is sterilization. So si sterilization natay gitawag og duha ka sterilization. For males is there is what we call vasectomy, and for female is the tubal ligation or the ligate of females. So si vasectomy iyang putlon tong ugat nga nag-release og sperm. So putlon to niya, so dili na makaagi ang sperm. Si ligation naman, so putlon to niya tong ugat nga travilan, putlon to niyang ugat nga kuanan nga gawsanan or passageway sa kuan sa egg cell. And if this is already if kuan ni siya, if i-perform na ni siya or nauman na ni siya, kuan gyud 100% nga dili na gyud ka maburos kay naputol naman tong ugat nga agianan para makaagi si sperm or si egg. para ma-fertilize siya. So, wala fertilization mahitabo ani. It is highly effective and permanent and one-time expense. Kaya isa rasab ka magbayad ani. Magamit ta aning mga contraceptives. Although, si contraceptives, especially ni si birth control, si birth injections, IUD, nani siya benefits, naagyapon ni siya risk mahatag sa atua, specifically sa babae. Kay kita man usually sa samot na sa birth sa pills nga atong gina-intake. So there are chemicals nga ma-intake sa atong lawas. So if there are chemicals, nadyo chance nga kuan madaot ta or mag-leads na siya into sickness. So nabiya tay gitawag nga teenage pregnancy. So unsa may risk, unsa may mga kuan kanang mga bad effect ani niya if maburos ta og sayo. So early pregnancy is risky because a young woman's body is not yet mature enough to handle a pregnancy and childbirth. So dili pa mature ang atong lawas para manganak og magburos og magmapdos. For example, si pelvic area, that's the bone surrounding the birth canal, is still growing na siya under 20 years old. So what can happen if the pelvis is too small for the baby to pass through? It can cause problems during childbirth. Kay gamay pa man si pelvis, dili if magburos ta niya mga anak na ta, dili maglisod og agi si baby dito. Kay kuan palagi siya, still growing pa man siya, wala pa man siya na mature. So dako kay chance nga magka-problem inagpanganak na. This condition is called the obstructed labor. It is dangerous for both the mother and the baby. Sometimes the doctor need to do a cesarean section. So mo na ni cesarean section is if dili jud kaya iutong sa mama dito sa iyahang ipagawas jud sa iyang vagina si baby, i-perform na or mag-suggest na si doctor nga i-cesarean section. So hiwaan ang lower part sa tummy sa mama para dito igawas si baby, para ma-save ang life ni baby o sa mother. But even with surgery, there is still big risk. If the uterus tears during childbirth, the mother can lose a lot of blood and may die. If she survives, she might still suffer from a condition called fistula. So if gipugos siya, nakaanak si mother, but nakakuan siya og daghan nga dugo. And di ba pag daghan kayong dugo mo kuha, na chance nga mamatay ang mama. However, if she survives, pwede siya magsuffer sa condition nga gitawag natog fistula. So unsa man si fistula? It is the hole between the vagina and the bladder or the rectum. This makes it hard for a woman to control her urine or feces. Without surgery, this problem can last for life and make a social outcast. So, kabalo man ta sa dapit ang ang ato ang vagina o sa bladder or sa rectum. So pag ipugos siya na chance nga mudako jud ang gisi, maabot na siya dito sa rectum, dili man makontrol ni mother ang iyang pag-istir siya ihi and then dako jud kay na siya epekto sa mother. So in early pregnancy, it also increases the chance of many complications gud no. So severe vomiting, suka, ma-anemic or lack healthy blood, high blood pressure, convulsion, infections, and so on and so forth. And also there's also a breastfeeding difficulty because the body is not yet ready. So na chance nga Ang breast is dili pa ka produce og milk. So maglisod si baby og drink og gatas. Babies of young mothers are also more likely to be premature o low birth weight. Katong mga under 20s pa nga nangaburos, kabantay mo nga ilahang babies usually kuan jud premature or 7 months pa lang gianak na or gianak man siya sakto nga bulan, dili sab kay siya healthy. And the safest the no if you can think of one possibility danger to the baby, if the mother is too young, there is a premature birth and low weight. Mo na tong giingon. And the safest age for pregnancy is between 20 to 30 years old yun. Mo na siya ang advisable nga pwede na magmapdos ang usa ka babae or pwede na siya mag-carry baby within her 20 to 30 years of age. Kay kuan naman. Why? Because in this age, specifically the pelvis has fully developed. So mature na ang mga katong mga parts sa reproductive organs sa babae. For girls while still growing, ages 12 to 16, the pelvis can still widen by about 20%. That makes a difference in whether the delivery will be safe or obstructed. So during 12 to 16, bisan gidugo na ka, yes, maburos na ka, pero ang imong pelvis, dili pagod kay na siya. Pag imo na siyang ikuan, gamay ra gud kay na siya buka. Nako jud kay chance nga dili ka makaanak og safe and or mo na nang nanad yung mga or dili ra man nang putay naputay ginatawag nga kanang napud diba naputay mga kaila, although mga kuan na sila 20 plus 30 plus maglisod gyapon sila anak kay lagi si pelvis gamay ra siya og bukas. So pag si pelvis gyud gamay ra gyud na siya bukas, dako jud kay chance nga ang pag-anak is maglisod gyud. To conclude this lesson, so si babae na ay ovulation stage, and after ovulation dug-on. So if dug-on na, pwede na maboros. If maboros, daghan gyapon risk and dapat magamit og mga contraceptives if gusto gyud mo engage. If di na gyud mapugngan, gusto gyud mo engage sa mga kanang mga activity nga mga inana sexual activity. So dapat magamit gyud og contraceptives para ma-prevent nato ang teenage pregnancy or ang maagang pagbubuntis. Thank you for listening. I hope nakakaton mo sa atong lesson karon. Thank you for watching.